everybody, I'm Lily Burghard. Today is Friday, February 20th, and I'm here joined by some lovely USM students. If I could get y'all to introduce yourselves with your name, your year, and then your major and any student group affiliations.
I'll start, I guess. My name is Miles. I'm a junior here at USM. I'm a video arts major. I'm also the host of the Real Punk Rock here on WUSM, as well as a member of the Student Media Creative Department, recording. I'm a filmographer, filmmaker, photographer, etc. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Asmita. I am a junior in economics. I am the president of the economics club. I am a resident assistant on campus and on the student advisory board for the Center for Women in Leadership.
That's so cool.
Hey, I'm Sanjida Islam, and I'm currently a senior, majoring in computer science. And I'm the vice president for Girls Who Code Club at USM, and I'm a senior resident assistant on campus, and I am student ambassador for international students.
Oh, that's so cool. What do y'all think that USM students are talking about right now? Like, what headlines would y'all say are the most talked about? What do you hear the most?
I would say as of now, currently I'm mostly affiliated with international students, and they're really worried about like H-1B process and the really changes that are making effect for their education, and they're wondering what should be the next steps.
I see. What specifically are people worried about within it, and what processes are they having to go through right now?
Like the H-1B visa? So usually what happens is basically after students graduate, they either pursue master's or PhD, or they look for jobs, and they can go through to OPT, and if they get sponsorship for H-1B, they can continue working in the US and get more experience. So as of now, since there has been changes for the H-1B process, that like the companies now have to pay like a large amount of money, which specifically doesn't affect like students, but the companies are really worried like that it might affect soon, so they're really like holding back from sponsoring students anymore.
I see.
So that is really affecting students getting a job here at the USM, especially like here at US, I mean, especially for international students. So that's what mostly is affecting students, I think.
I see. That is a really big issue. I can see how that would be very pervasive.
Even in general, I think there's a lot of students talking about, especially being in like junior year, everybody's talking about internship season. Everybody's talking about like the job market is horrible and there's no internships to be found anywhere. Like Sanjida already said, it's harder for an international student because the whole idea is, you know, if you do well as an intern, you probably get a job offer to come back, and companies don't want to get international student interns if there's no chance of them staying and working next year. But yeah, internships in general is like stressing everybody out, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think just it comes back to the job market, you know. So many people are getting to that point where, like you said, internships are coming up so much that the state of the job market is making a lot of students super worried, I think, you know, because it's been a lot better than it is now. But yeah, that's what I think the most. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. No, looking for a job and just worried about what comes next, especially in such a confusing and tumultuous time, is very stressful. And I can imagine it's even more stressful for an international student having to struggle with the changing visa situations and under this current administration and everything. I have a couple of headlines here, if that's mostly all. I know that around campus, and especially on people's social medias and stuff, I've been seeing a lot, of course, about the recent ICE raids in different cities and things. And I know the most recent one that I read was about Savannah, where ICE was chasing a man, like on a car chase down a highway, and the man ended up killing a school teacher who taught students with special needs. It's like, her name was Linda Davis, and she was 52, and she was killed less than half a mile from the school. And Savannah police officers have said that they have special arrangements in place to where they do not pursue car chases in this way because it's unsafe with their infrastructure and things. But ICE was not working with the Savannah Police Department, and so did not follow these protocols and ended up putting civilians in an unsafe situation.
I mean, that just kind of sounds like a lose-lose situation regardless of whether they're working with local police or not, because I think there are times where, you know, coordinating with local police could have definitely helped with, you know, what can you do, what can't you do in the city. And there are other times where you think, oh, there's actually like infrastructure within the legal system to allow ICE to work with the police department, and so like to increase the number of people who are working under ICE via the police department, which, you know, the police departments already have enough critique as it is in America. But yeah, that really does sound like a lose-lose situation to me.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's been kind of nonstop talk about ICE on campus for, the past 2 months now. So I feel like it's getting to a point where people are, I don't want to say desensitizing, but people are not as loud as they were about ICE at one point. But I think it's also maintaining a generally consistent volume about how anti-ICE people are on campus. It's just we're getting to a point where it's become a norm lately, and that's really, really depressing to see.
It is, yeah. I know what you mean about people being desensitized to it, but it's always good to remember the individuals that were killed, absolutely lost their lives due to ICE, and to remember their lives and not just their deaths, and to get out and do what I think students have been doing, which is protesting and making their voices heard about the changes that they would like to see implemented in their communities. Do you have any thoughts?
No, I haven't been noticing issues here in Mississippi, but I've heard a lot about Minnesota, and those were really severe, and I've seen like people protesting. I think that's a good step, and I think the rates have been like minimized there in Minnesota, so I think there's hope. So
Definitely good to hold on to hope and everything. There was a headline that stuck out to me this morning, which was Supreme Court strikes down Trump's sweeping tariffs, upending central plank of the economic agenda. So this might be somewhere where you can actually get in. So it was a 6-3 decision that centers on tariffs imposed under an emergency powers law, including the sweeping reciprocal tariffs that he levied on nearly every other country. And the majority found that it's unconstitutional for the president to unilaterally set and change tariffs because taxation power clearly belongs to Congress.
Yeah, so I was reading this in the morning as well, and it's essentially what they did was make all these changes under an international economic emergency program, and that is meant to be utilized for things like drug trafficking and fentanyl and things like that. And so, first of all, without oversight from Congress, is one of the reasons that the Supreme Court found it unconstitutional and that it was an overreach of presidential power. Another thing that we're looking at right now is just a lot of questions. I think once we hit this, it was either it passes or it doesn't, and now that if it passed, we kind of knew what we were looking at, everything that's already been happening, right? Like everything we've already heard of tariffs here and tariffs there. But now that it hasn't, we're looking at what happens to all of the money that was collected, like billions of dollars in tariffs? What happens to foreign policy? Because a major part of the foreign policy of this administration was, starting a trade war and talking about tariffs and talking about, even in Bangladesh, Sanjida and I are from Bangladesh, and there was just an agreement between the U.S. and Bangladesh for a 1% decrease in tariffs in exchange for a lot of aircraft that we're buying and a lot of non-neutral behavior that we're doing in coordination with the U.S. So anybody that the U.S. creates sanctions over is something that Bangladesh would have to go along with. And now that these have been struck down, I guess, what happens to those agreements? Are those terms null and void, or do people have to go along with this even though there's no threat of tariffs anymore?
I see. Oh, yeah, that is so interesting. I didn't know. I would never thought about that. I haven't thought about the economic side too much, honestly. But that's, yeah. Wow. Anyone? It's okay. We're going to wrap up and take a break real fast. All right, and we're back. I know one thing that I think has been also on everybody's minds, I see people talking about it every day, and I know it's been heavily on my mind too, is all the revelations from the Epstein files and everyone going through and figuring out. And I know yesterday the former Prince Andrew was arrested following like how he was put in the Epstein files. I think they allege misconduct while in office, is what he was arrested on. He's been since released, but he'll be under investigation continuing on. And Trump said something about it. He was like, that's just very sad. Makes me very sad to see. Very disappointing. I don't really know what he means by that. He's also mentioned the Epstein files. Have people been talking about that with y'all? Have y'all been speaking amongst yourselves? What do y'all feel on that?
You know, it's kind of hard to avoid the Epstein files right now. I think this next batch that they dropped was... I feel like they might have dropped it thinking, oh, nobody's going to pay attention to this, or because people had like stopped paying attention to it for a while. People stopped caring, like I said, that desensitization. But, you know, this had so much that it's kind of made people wake up a little bit. You know, you see a lot of people online calling to stop desensitizing Epstein and Epstein jokes. I think it's making a lot of people realize about like the state of where we are, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of distrust in people, especially celebrities and just people with tons of money in general, because of just how widespread this operation was. It was an international affair with tons of people that people absolutely love. I think it's really disappointing knowing just how many people were on here and just the depravity that people are capable of.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just bewildering how much this hasn't got enough press, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't see major headlines about it. I don't think I hear about it in my news podcasts. I mean, it's what's really surprising to me is how grassroots it seems for the people who are actually trying to increase awareness about it. It feels like there's almost like institutional pushback maybe, you know, against all of this coming up at all. And I think what's really surprising to me is that there really isn't enough outrage. I wonder if that's because there hasn't been enough media coverage, but it's just kind of unheard of for something like this to, like, you know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, this was not the precedent of something coming out. Like, this was not the public reaction.
Absolutely.
I think I agree with Asmita, not having enough coverage. I think I see a lot of social media posts about it, but not enough in actual media.
I agree.
Like, where people would actually be talking about it in, like, serious amount. And I don't think that's enough out there. I think students are talking among themselves, and I don't think that would take us anywhere. It's just we are discussing, and what will come out of it.
That's true. It's kind of hard with something that feels so much bigger than us. We are kind of powerless. If they're, like, we can't necessarily hold them responsible right now. We can't, like, get anyone to arrest them. But I guess for me, it gave me a little bit of hope that at least Prince Andrew was, like, arrested, even if it was for a short time, that at least in some way he's held slightly liable.
Yeah, I mean, he's already been released back.
Yeah.
I really wonder if that was kind of to set people at ease a little bit of, like, giving people a sense of, you know, like, just pacifying them, being like, oh, we'll take him in for a little bit.
For an
but
hour.
At the end of the day, it's a very interesting, because there's no precedent for, you know, members of the royal family being arrested. Like, this is kind of unheard of in the modern world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least there's that. At least there's the threat of powers being checked, you know?
Absolutely.
If I can add on to a little bit more,
Yeah,
I just
please.
did a little bit more fact checking because I remembered. I saw a video of a financier, a billionaire, that gave Epstein a lot of his power, and a lot of his, like, finance decision making abilities and all that. This billionaire was in court, and his hot mic actually caught an attorney being like, if you say anything more than 5 words, I'll kill you.
That's Les Wexner.
Yeah. I think it's all of this coming out to light is showing that a lot of these people that have their fingers really deep into it are scared. They are very, very nervous about what's going on, because I feel like it's about to come to light and everything's about to turn on its head, and people are about to get found out about all this just, like, evil stuff that they've been doing, which, it's like you said, how is this stuff that they've gotten away? It's the stuff that's in the files are unbelievable, just like incomprehensible things that it's like, how did any of these people get away with it? And I think people are really starting to catch wind of that, and the billionaires and everything that are being affected by this are starting to get really, really scared. So
Yeah, I agree.
That's a good change.
I saw that video too. It was part of my headlines because Les Wexner, he owned like Abercrombie and Fitch, Victoria's Secret, Pink, pretty much everything, and he gave Epstein control over Justice, which was horrible to find out. I used to wear a Justice when I was like very small, so it's just like it's absolutely disgusting. And then while this disgusting and depraved thing is going on, we also have Israel occupying Palestine, and just recently in the occupied West Bank, Israeli settlers shot and killed a Palestinian American man during an attack on a village. He was a resident of Mukmas. Said a group of settlers came to the village Wednesday afternoon where they attacked a farmer, prompting clashes after residents intervened. Israeli forces later arrived during the violence, and armed settlers killed 19-year-old Nasrallah Abu Sayyam and injured several others.
I haven't heard about it. Honestly, that's probably because I don't pay much attention to it. But I honestly am surprised. Like, it's still going on. I thought that was like a ceasefire. Like, everything stopped. Like, no, it's still going on. No, like, that's crazy.
See, I'm in a similar boat. I don't, I try to stay informed, but I don't have this stuff flood my feeds just for the sake of my own mental health, because I can't take that. But I try to stay informed, and I did see that. And on the opposite end, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that this is still going. I'm not surprised that they did something and then they're going back on it, because lately it's just been, let's do the thing that people are asking and get it done so you can get that headline out, and then reverse it afterwards, because that's what we have the power to do. That's what a lot of people are doing. It's what they were doing with Prince Andrew's arrest. It's like, I'm just not surprised. It's just more and more sadness,
Absolutely.
I do think that the ceasefire kind of gave everybody a kind of permission to just check out.
Yes.
I think there were a lot of people that were very vocal about it, and obviously there are issues related to this that have to do with international students no longer feeling safe to talk about these things, which is why I don't talk about these things. But there's definitely an aspect of those changes kind of worked as, again, like a placating effect to be like, oh, well, you don't have to worry about this anymore. And once you follow through on the headlines, you're like, oh, the same thing is just going on.
Just with under a different tone, I guess. What else? I know that I haven't been paying a lot of attention, but I've just been seeing a lot of stuff about the Winter Olympics and the girl who just brought home the gold for figure skating, Alyssa Liu. Yeah.
First time in 24 years?
Yeah, I think it was the first time since 2002.
Oh my gosh. I've been watching the Winter Olympics like a hawk. Like, I love figure skating. I love ice dance. And so, like, every Winter Olympics, like, when I was back home, like, they would release the times in the newspaper of, like, this is what time, and I'd stay up till, like, 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
That's crazy.
To, like, watch. And so, like, to watch these people, like, not only is it amazing, it really, like, it's incredible what Alyssa Liu's done, because she had, like, a comeback. She was gone, and then she wasn't expected to come back and make this big of, like, a splash again, and now she's won gold. Like, watching her win gold and how, like, carefree she is, I was like, we all have something to learn from her. Like, I really get why people, like, look up to athletes now, because of how much she was just like, it's not about winning gold. Like, as long as I have fun, it's great. And she was just, like, happy and laughing.
Yeah, and
I genuinely cried watching her win.
Beautiful.
It was incredible.
It was really cool.
See, the Olympics are, like, the Olympians have a really odd position right now because of the way that, like, especially the ones that are representing America. It's kind of hard to represent America right now, especially on a world stage like that. And I like that, what's her name? I'm not super familiar.
Alyssa Liu.
Alyssa Liu. Athletes like Alyssa Liu, they're going out there and they're showing that there's, like, more to the reason why they're doing all of this, and the reason why what they're representing. It's not necessarily about America. It's about, like, the individuality that's bringing us all together. And it's kind of defying the state of the world right now, because how do you go out there and represent America with everything that's going on right now? And seeing how the athletes are doing that is kind of that's a really inspiring thing to me. I think it shows that there's a lot of hope. There always is, but that's another sign out there. So especially, it's also reflected, I'm so sorry to go back, it's also reflected in, like, the opening of the Olympics. They used generative AI
I didn't know that. I haven't been like I said, I haven't been following them that closely, but I have
just
been seeing a lot about Alyssa
Caught a
Liu.
glimpse of it and saw that in the intro they used some Gen AI, and I was like, what a contrast. You
Was
see
it
all
like to create pictures?
visuals
and
of like a
visuals?
host doing
Oh,
like the events and skating and all that.
There's quite a bit of backlash to that as well.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
But have you guys heard like the AI bubble to be bursting like soon in the upcoming year? Like
Yes.
I mean, tell us about it.
I've heard like especially I don't know if you heard the news about it, but I think OpenAI is probably gonna get bankrupt soon, and that's like gonna cause a lot of things because people have been investing a lot in AI and they're like not getting the investment back. And I've been hearing people talk about how the AI bubble is gonna like, burst soon, and people are gonna be going back to the usual. But I don't know. It could be opposite too. But that's just a hot topic around like a lot of students.
It
here.
is. It is. I think everyone is definitely against generative AI, especially for the way that it uses up like water, which is not a renewable resource for us, specifically in poor Black and Brown communities, and so it just
Yeah.
disproportionately affects people of color. And it was really good news, actually, in local news, that they just shot down that idea for the AI warehouse in South Haven, Mississippi.
Yay.
The data center.
Mm-hmm. And they got it after a 2.5-hour public hearing. Not a single person spoke in favor of the proposed air permit for an
Beautiful.
Elon Musk owned operation.
Awesome.
So
That's
that was
really
really good
amazing.
news.
Because the thing about stuff like that is there's always a lot of hype about bringing jobs to these kinds of communities, because these communities, they are like under-resourced. There's a lot of people who are desperate for jobs, and again, I do think there's a usual trend of preying on those kinds of insecurities in order to kind of forward the agenda. And so like this was something that was really heartbreaking to me when I heard about it first, like the data center thing, because what happens is there's construction jobs, that's what they're creating while the data center is being actually constructed, and then after that it requires I think like 100 people to
So,
operate, and so
doesn't
just
really-
long term cost benefit is just not doing anything for the economy here.
I know that in like Madison, Gluckstadt area of Mississippi, which is up near central Mississippi, where my dad lives, in their neighborhood, there's a data center right near there, and like half the neighborhood has to pay a water bill of like $800 a month. Like it's absolutely insane, just due to the way that the data center has sucked it all out.
I've seen videos of people having to boil their water because they're in like an area with a data center, like sinks barely producing any water because they're in an area with a data center. It's just, it goes without saying, I'm just so sick of AI. Like I see it every single day. I see it everywhere. I see it on campus. I see teachers and staff advocating for it, and I'm just really disappointed, and like I never stop being mad or upset about AI, because like the human ability that comes with creating things in contrast to AI is something that will never ever die, but it's just, you see more and more people betraying you on that. Artists being like, oh, it's a tool, it's easier, and then it's just pure ignorance to the damage it's causing. I'm sick. I'm so sick of it. I talked about this the last time that I was on this show. It's been like a few months. It's been nonstop AI stuff for so long, and I'm just so tired of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really tired of just tech in general. I know there's this huge movement to go like analog in 2026, and
Yeah.
I think that I just hope that that's not just like a little trend that people follow for a little bit. I hope that people genuinely implement that into their daily lives. We're really just reliant on technology in a way that we aren't like. Alrighty, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back. Alrighty, and we're back. What I was talking about before the break is that a cyber attack at the University of Mississippi Medical Center caused it to close all of its statewide clinic and cancel many appointments Thursday and Friday. The cyber attack shut down all of its computer system. It's an incident that officials expect to last multiple days. And I just felt like that was relevant, I guess, because of our reliance on technology. It caused such a widespread problem that tons of people probably needed these medical appointments and just weren't able to do it because their computer systems are down. And even though tech has made great strides for innovation within the medical industry, how reliant should we continue to be on it when it can present problems such as this?
Yeah. I mean, I think even when you think about that trade-off of efficiency that you get in exchange for like all the data and the reliance you're putting onto tech, like I think there's lots of times that we already feel like we kind of messed up there. Like, I don't know if everybody's been talking about they're out of data. They need to buy more. They're out of Google storage. They're out of Dropbox storage. And that's because you don't own your pictures anymore. You're paying somebody else to hold on to your pictures so you can look at them once a month. Like, that kind of stuff really tells you, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it is so much easier to be able to scroll on my phone than go through, like, 17 family books that I can, you know, but I think it really does depend on the individual, but how much are we willing to rely on something, on a comfort like that that kind of costs you?
It's an epidemic of convenience, you know? Because, I mean, I was thinking about it the other day. I love physical media. I love, you know, CDs and stuff like that, but I would just prefer so much to, you know, have all the music that I want to listen to in the palm of my hand and swipe through it whenever I want to, get to whatever I want to. It's convenience, and there's good in it, but there's also been a lot of bad in it for, I don't know, it's a tale as old as time, as old as technology is. We've seen renditions of this, so it really calls for conscious consumption in a way that is more dire than ever, I think.
Me personally, I'm a computer science major, guys, so don't just come at me, okay? So I think tech could be valuable if you know how to use it. And for example, like the attack you're talking about, like it is probably people relying too much on AI that they don't know what they put in there, you know? So you have to be able to understand what you're doing so that this kind of attacks can be avoided.
Absolutely.
And I'm personally like looking into things like how you can like avoid these kind of things. How can you make more secure? Because we are moving into a world where it's not avoidable. Like like everything has like technology, and it's like we may try to take a step back, and we may probably we would like okay, me personally, I don't like using tech, so you might be able to take a life all away. But in the world, there would be still like tech stuff going on. So I think we probably just, me personally, would probably have to learn how to like be in a way where it doesn't personally just like destroy stuff. Like for example, the attack thing. So yeah.
No, absolutely. I really value your perspective, and like having a differing perspective, I think is really important on something of this caliber, especially because you're educated in that field. So I think it's very valuable to hear what you think about it. Any closing thoughts that you guys have?
We could end with a nice thought. Like, does anyone have a good news? Probably.
Yeah. Does anyone have good news?
Can I plug my club real quick?
Yeah, please.
2 weeks from now, we are holding a game night for the Economics Club, and it is open for everybody. We're going to have snacks, and we're going to do things like Monopoly and Prisoner's Dilemma that's going to introduce people to, like, economic concepts. Y'all should come.
That's so
Cool,
cool.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you mind if I plug my show real quick?
Please plug everything.
Okay.
Y'all can plug whatever
Beautiful.
you want.
The Real Punk Rock, it's a show that makes your heart explode. It's all about anything that makes you tick and things that are most important to the little people out there. We are every Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. We play a little bit of good music, talk with a lot of good people. I actually have my first interview coming up next week with a thespian on campus named Jalen Clay. Shout out. Please tune in. It's a great time. We've been off the air for a few weeks, but I'm getting everything back under control, and I have a lot of ambitions for it. So, yeah, WSM, the Real Punk Rock, 88.5.
That sounds good.
That's awesome.
I may as well then.
Yes, please.
So for Girls Who Code Club, we are having a resume review event this upcoming Friday. at 11 a.m. in TEC 205. We will have like student reviewers who come talk about student reviewers who have been in big tech companies who will like review your resume and give a good feedback about it, if it's good or bad or if it's perfect. And we will of course have pizza, so do come along.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show and having a great conversation with me.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.